All right, we are finally at the end of Summoner 3. This is the last servant, and I think I'm finally going to be caught up going into, start of the next work year. Like, by the time this event is over, it's going to be September. I'm going to be like maybe a week left of my vacation before back to work. Yeah, and it's looking like I'll be nice, set, ready for the rest of the year, being ahead of on everything and getting back to the grind. So let's finish strong with probably I like Gareth. I'm glad she's a 4-star. I like Eris. I'm glad she's she's fucking laughing at all the doubters. But Wu, this one's personal. This one is biased. And it's because she unlocks Shisho's maximum potential. I brought this up in Shisho's video. Apparently it's pronounced Skasaha. I'm gonna have problems pronouncing it, so I'm just always gonna call her Shisho. We look at Shisho, divine or undead versus divine and undead. Such a massive difference from OG Scotty's MP1 damage. And remember, that is still just MP1, just having both these modifiers with all Scotty's buffs. Not Scotty, Shisho's buffs. So it definitely scales. Why am I bringing this up? Oh, that is from the other video. Let's close this out right now. Why am I bringing this up? Because Wu enables Shisho's niche, and she does it well. She does it well. Scotty's all about 3 turns. Wu Zetian is gonna help with that. She's definitely gonna help with that. All right. So, first off, it's adult Wu. This is an adult Wu. This is not a child. This is not a prepubescent child wearing a ribbon to protect her naughty bits. This is an 18-year-old, okay, probably 16 to 23-year-old woman. Does it actually say her age? Okay, yeah, this is like around when she's in the harem. So I'm hoping she's around 16, 17, 18, 19, preferably at least 18 to 23. That's the vibe I'm getting from her. So already significant improvement. I would much rather have a grown woman than a child. I would much rather look at that. Star Gen, 10%, typical caster. MP charge, 0.61. I mean, the hits, it's okay. Arts, I probably want to say I don't want to say just a Mighty Chain off the rip, but I think Mighty Chain might be best for her. Because now I can really talk about that. Instead of AQ going AQA, is Mighty Chain gonna be better? Overall, yeah, but if you're looking specifically for refund, probably AQA is probably gonna get you most. If you're looking for absolute max refund that she can do for herself. Yeah, hits good. Like this this base MB charge with 5 hits gonna be okay. It's gonna be pretty good for refund, and she is a buster servant. She is indeed a buster servant. The AoE buster servant too, which is rare for casters. You don't get too many buster casters. They're actually doing damage. First skill. This is similar to OG's. I'll bring this. OG Charisma of the Empress. 20% attack and 20% crit. This is what it was, and then this quick was not for herself. This is why she was like basically a mini She could kind of do like help with quick looping a little bit because of this, like kind of what Ruler Scotty gives you. So I remember like you use Wu in Shisho trying to one-shot King Protea. I'm pretty sure like Wu is a factor in some of those videos. The new one though has it for Buster, and this actually includes yourself. And you have this nice little bit, party MP generate. Oof. Now wouldn't this like, okay, so if this is what if they buff this Wu to have this, like quick performance, change this to include herself. All right, I mean it really doesn't matter, but just might as well, and then put MP gain on this. Holy shit, that is a loaded skill. It will help with quick looping. Yeah, and she'll just be a better support. I think that's what they can do, since she has gotten a lot of yeah, everything else in her kit has been buffed. So her getting this skill to be like full on support would be really, really nice. But like budget, or like a Scotty replacement for when she's not on right up. So that would be fantastic. And like for that, this is like one of the adding MP gain to this would be like one of the rare cases where I'm like, yeah, like if you want to like make this skill better, like up the cooldown and put MP gain on it and fix this part, and I will be fine with them adding another turn to the cooldown. I know they don't do that, but this is a case where like I think the buff would be a little too strong in 5 turns if they kept it. All right, back to Wu Caster. So we're already looking good, especially for, like I say, Shisho support specifically. It's really any servant that has undead, but Shisho is like the case example because Shisho will like all these buffs. Second skill, reduces all enemies MP gauge by 1, gives a damage mod to undead enemies for 3 turns, and increases party's MP gauge by 20%. Giving a damage mod. Hey, we'll get to that in a second, but that would make Shisho's damage more consistent over the course of 3 turns. Something that neither Scotty would be able to do, because this would multiply with all their buffs, regardless if Shisho has her 1 turn buff up. Which I want that to be turned into 3 turns, but I think that's way too much. 100% damage mod for 2 different things that now can possibly stack and make that 3 turns. Yeah, that's way too hot. That's way too much. Shisho's pretty much always going to be 1 turn popping off, and she'll have downtime. They're never going to buff her to be a 3-turner. And her third skill, stuns all enemies, party HP, and debuff cleanse. Now you may be thinking, oh, why undead? It's so uncommon. Why does this matter? It's not like she makes people undead. Oh yeah, she makes people undead, but we'll go back to that later. Passive skills, territory creation A, arts performance, item construction, debuff success rate, and ambition for imperial ascension, mental debuff immunity. Cannot charm Wu. So I mean, I guess he could be comma killer, but like, yeah, let's not get ahead of ourselves here. It's a factor, but are you really gonna bring Wu to fight? I mean, assassin comma, sure, maybe not beast comma, but I haven't brought Wu to Oku yet. I still haven't beat Oku on JP. That will happen probably after this event. Passives, increase damage against foreigners. Cool. She is AoE, so like sure. If you get the servants for it, go for it. I think mana loading would probably be best, but she's a 20% gauge, not a 30, and her cooldown is too high to even think about doing 3-turn farming with her, unless you're reading a shit load of supports to do it. I don't think Wu can brute force it, so she's not a farmer. By the way, not a farmer. She's an enabler. So MP inflicts the undead trait for 3 turns to all enemies. This is for boss fights. Also, damage mod against mana attribute. I did not know she had this. I did not know she had a damage mod. That's really cool. Reduces their defenses by 20% for 3 turns. I believe... No, that was on her... She had torture. Right, she had torture technique. That's why. And it also stopped at 20%, so that is funny. At least the original one. The original ones was 20%. Buff one is 30. And MP damage. So this multiplies with these two, multiplies with this. So in her own kit, she has every kind of buff to up her damage. Oh yeah, and this when it procs. I actually haven't seen what her damage looks like in comparison. I'm assuming it's like really high. I don't see Wu like being like super low. Yeah. Man attribute, she's hitting with man attribute, she's the hardest hitting. Second only okay, not second only. They're very like pretty much any other servant that has a damage mod is going to hit harder. Sieg is gonna hit harder because he's MP5, but Dragon is much more uncommon. Like he's just by default gonna hit harder, just MP5. With being an art servant, so lots of different support. Murasaki arts again, demonic is a common trait, but not as common as man attribute. King Scheherazade, man attribute is more common than king trait. But Divinky like doesn't even need a damage mod, and she's gonna hit harder than Wu no matter what. But her looping potential is low for an art servant, but she has other ways to get around that. So yeah, Wu, if you have more than one copy, she's hitting harder than most 5 stars. Again, this is oh right, Bonsi, quick performance and reduced party defense. This is a high 20%. Like if you are not trying to enable Shisho to do max possible damage on turn 1, this is probably what you're going to be using for the quick support that she can do specifically for Shisho. Because even though she's Buster support, she's still giving Wu's oh wait, no, I'm so sorry. That's the OG. I was wondering why it was like that. Okay, here we go. I'd be tripping, holy shit. All right, here's this Wu's buff. Damage mod against undead and increases MP gain by 10% as long as she's on the field. So you mean to tell me she's giving everyone a 45% damage mod against undead for the 3 turns that you need it? Now, I'm gonna be real. This is an extremely niche situation. Extremely niche. How many people have Shisho? Not that many. But how many people could you see putting Shisho on their friends list because of a servant like this, and because of how the changes to with Shisho, how there's now 2 Shishos that can go on your friends list and in your party at the same time, so technically 3, and really make Shisho pop off. Like, if you have regular Scotty, Summer Scotty and Wu Zetian, you just need a Scotty on your friends list, and that may be an MP5 Shisho, which is something you cannot afford. I like niche case situations like this. I remember Boudica, Grand Roma, and Siegfried was pumping out ridiculous amounts of damage, like in the millions, because of that kind of niche situation of damage mods multiplying against each other or multiplying with each other. Like, her kit makes sense. It works for what she, like, regardless if it's Shisho, she's still giving everyone a damage mod that will multiply their damage. This is not something that's easily enabled by most servants. Like, they're like, Eris has servant damage mod, which is one of the most common, but that's still only for herself. Wu can buff Eris to now have 2 different damage mods on her damage. Like, yes, these power mods are gonna add into each other, but that's another level of scaling for Eris that she normally wouldn't have. Like, this is not specific for Shisho. I just mentioned Shisho because she already has undead. Like, this is very general that can just overall boost your damage. Problem is, traits like this. I still believe this counts as a debuff. Can be cleansed. I'm not 100% sure of how traits interact with like immunities and all that. So that situation could be better or worse depending on situations. There might be coin flips involved. But yeah, like, my videos take as long as they need to. I don't keep talking to stretch out a video to get some kind of goal. If I feel I talked about a servant enough, the video is pretty much going to be done. I keep talking about this because I love this potential. Shisho is my favorite character. Wu enables so much. She is an enabler for big fucking damage. End of discussion. If this counts as shit, like, if this is a debuff, then Arjuna Alter can get this too and fucking smack the shit out of people even harder. Like, yeah, like, Wu's also support for Arjuna Alter because he has 2 different debuffs. Like, this character is nuts. Like, all you need is a K-scope and you can start enabling like 3-turn shit. Scotty's already known for 3-turn shit. Like, it helps with it. Is she like someone that you must summon for? Absolutely not. Are you gonna maybe get a couple copies when you summon for Summer Scotty? Yes. I believe mine's MP3 now. But that was after a dry spell. 420 was the St. Quartz. I pulled Scotty, I blazed it up, but I got Wu Zetian MP3 like in the first 2. So that's how summoning be. Sometimes you either get this, sometimes you get the 5-star and you don't get the 4-star. Sometimes you get MP10 of a 4-star and you don't get the 5-star. It's just how RNG be. Anyway, that's enough for this. I want to get ready to start streaming again. And I will see you guys later. Peace.